Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone who's tuning in and who's listening. Thank you for joining us here for the jump off today. As you guys may know or not know, if you guys watch our channel, I'm Cadriana and I'm always here. You'll see me on The Mob, Creating Consciousness, and a couple other shows. But today, I'm here really hosting for these three fine ladies. As you can see on our title today, our topic is children, COVID, and mental health. So today we have with us my mom and our program director for Roots CSI, Maria Martinez. We have Sol Quinones. I said it right this time. Yes. She is a director of G2G and a mother of, it's five, right? Six. Mother of six. Wow. And we have Brittany with us, who is a early intervention special instructor, and she's done a whole bunch of things with kids and psychology, and it's too much for me to say all in one. So you'll hear more about it. I'm gonna hand over the reins to my mom, Maria, while I guess I'm situated here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mom. One more. We've been discussing lately mental health in our community, and today we're going to talk about especially mental health in children and young kids. That's why we have Sol here, and we have Brittany, our specialist, and the kids. And basically, we bring this topic because most of now, more than before, we need to know what our kids going through. And the mental health is real in children. Um, and they have feelings like us adults, and they really experiment a lot of things. And we, as adult parents, teachers, um, and many other people who work with kids, doesn't understand that kids can have mental health. And really, I want to give this to Brittany because I want her to tell me really what is mental health, the difference between mental health and mental ill, so parents can understand at home there is a difference in that. It's not the same.
Okay, so when it comes to mental health, what we think about really is, like the maintenance of our mental health, really, as opposed to like an actual mental illness, which would be something that is, diagnosed that you're, treating in a way. So mental health is something that we think of on more of like a general topic, whereas like you hear especially a lot now with COVID and everything, like take care of your mental health, you know. Hmm?
No, keep going.
Oh, like take care of your mental health. Do things that boost your serotonin levels. Go take a walk outside. Go, spend time with family. Things like that. Whereas a mental illness would be like actually being diagnosed with depression, anxiety, things like that.
Okay. The big question that everybody always asks me is how you know that that child is going through mental health. What's the process? When we find out the child had that problem.
Like a more like a mental health issue.
Yeah.
You'll see it a lot. You'll definitely see a change in them. What that change looks like might be different depending on the child. But pretty much, you might have a child who went from, being very happy-go-lucky and outgoing to now they seem a little bit more reserved. They, might not be as open with people anymore. Even the younger ones, the ones who might not be able to express their emotions verbally, you might see them kind of, draw back a little bit. They're not as, into things as they used to be. Withdrawn is definitely something to notice. They might also develop aggressive behaviors. You might see more tantrums. If they're in preschool or daycare, you might be getting those phone calls home, like you've been there.
Yeah.
Those phone calls home are never easy to tell a parent that, all of a sudden their child is now exhibiting, aggressive behaviors. But definitely pay attention and, notice these subtle changes in your child. And, I always tell parents to consult their pediatrician if you notice anything off or different. And then, your pediatrician can guide you from there. But I think especially if you have a pediatrician that you trust, a lot of people either really like their pediatrician or they dislike them. But if you have a pediatrician that you trust and, they've given you good advice, I would definitely consult them about the changes that you're seeing in your child. And it's harder with the younger ones I feel like there's not as many resources out there for help as far as like the really little ones go, especially like birth through 5, like the age group that I work with the most. There's, Provider 50 services, which, a BSc and a TSS, and they do that one-on-one behavior support. But they also do offer like mobile therapists and things like that for children who are a little bit older.
I know I used to be a teacher for many years for preschooler, and I can remember sometimes we used to say, oh, from nowhere, he'd been crying a week. Or he'd been throwing toys, or he'd been hitting, or he'd been biting other kids. And it was not from anywhere. It was something different that happened in the house. And sometimes as an educator, I has to go to parents and ask parents, Lowly, is any changes at home? And the first thing the parent told you is no. It's not changing in my house. But as the educator that I'm there, he was not like that. And if I really care is when it comes to my part to say, hey, to the director, and if it's a social worker in the school, listen, I've been seeing this, how I can help this kid. And I advise parents, if they have any problem, you don't have to say the complete problem that you have in your house, but at least tell the teacher, yeah, we have been changes at home. So that teacher know what to do in the classroom with that child. Sometimes with a hug, sometimes giving time by themselves, sometimes by reading a book. It's easy for the child to come, to regroup, and at the same time the teacher to continue help the child to develop. That's things that I see like that. I also see moments that even the parent doesn't know what's going on because it's things happening, and because it's a little kids, he don't know what's going on.
Right,
at home.
It's kids being kids.
It's skipping. No, he don't know. He don't listen. He don't know. We don't know what's going on. So parents say, no, it's not changed. Nothing happened. But yes, they don't have to be 7, 8, 9, 10 to understand that something's wrong at home.
Right, and that's why, being, two people who are from, the early childhood field, and we've dealt with this many times, it's important as parents to, be open with the other people in your child's life. Like you said, you don't have to go into detail, but if you're noticing changes at home, it's important to tell the people who are caring for your children during the day about the changes that are going on at home, that you might be seeing things different. And it's also important to have those conversations with those people too, along the lines of, okay, well, you're noticing this at home too. Okay, well, what are you doing at home that's working so that we can do that here, and that you can have those meaningful conversations with those people in your child's life.
Another thing is now with COVID. You in the film, is any more changes in the behavior or less? Is more worry?
I definitely see very obvious changes, mostly in the older kids. The little ones, I don't know how noticeable it might be. But the older ones, especially with the virtual schooling, it's really taking a toll on them. Very, very, very bad. Some kind of took it and ran with it and have had no problems. Others, they really struggle. With the younger ones, we've seen ones that, now have aggressive behaviors that didn't before. They went through almost like a trauma, that was not an easy, these children who were in childcare, in school, in daycare, they were ripped away from everything they knew and forced to sit at home. They didn't understand why. Some might be afraid based on things that they've heard their families talk about. They had the news on at home and they hear these different things. We had a little girl the other day at lunchtime. She was like, I just can't wait for COVID to go away. She's like, I want to see my friends at school. I want to go to birthday parties again. You know, they feel it too. And they're being hit just as hard as the rest of us. It's just, you know, everybody's under this assumption, you know, children are resilient, and they are. But we still have to make sure that as the adults in their lives that we're taking good care of them as well, and that we're paying attention, that we're having conversations with the older ones about how they're feeling and letting them know that we're a safe place for them, that they can come and they can talk to us about these things that, you know, are affecting them.
So this is the question for you.
Okay.
As a mom of 6 children at home, how you handle like all this?
So I agree with what she said as far as the kids are getting hit hard, maybe even harder than us as moms. We had to become teachers from one day to the next.
God bless you.
as far as the news, I was watching the news. I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna close school down for 2 weeks. That's it. We're gonna go back. You know, ended up being almost. We're in over a year now.
Yeah.
So the psychological distress that they're going through right now, it's manifesting into behavioral issues. It's manifesting into like sadness for them because, like you said, my kids want to hang out with their neighbors. Even our neighbors, we can't hang out with them because, you know, sometimes they're saying, oh, we might have been, you know, exposed or us. It's just hard to let anyone near you, especially our kids. Yeah. Our kids like to touch things. They like to
the
experience.
Younger ones like to put
they're
things
curious.
in their mouths.
Yeah, they're curious about, and you know, and now with the kids not going to school, they have no friends.
No. And then the ones that are like doing like a hybrid version, or if they're, you know, back in 4 days, there's always that uncertainty of like, okay, a COVID case popped up. Next day another one pops up, and then it's like, oh, we're shutting down again. Go synchronous
and starting
all
over again.
It's tough.
I'm being that like I think quarantine like 4 times already. Because
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have to stay home. Somebody, they just called me. Somebody, you know, being exposed in the school. You have to stay home. And it's very hard because you have to wait that the other person do the test to make sure that you don't have it. You have family. It's been very hard. And I see a kid saying, I'm done. And I'm saying, okay, you know what, next week, but we never know next week.
Right.
Yeah. And your case at home, how you do it with the 6 kids, the computer, they're very sure that time to...
Well, I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. It is one of the hardest jobs. We already have, on top of being a mom, we already have been, you know, cleaning lady, you know, taking care of the other younger kids that are not in school. So, you know, work as well. You know, everybody works. So some of us are working from home. Some of us are not working at all anymore due to COVID. So it becomes our full-time job being these teachers for these kids. I mean, I didn't know the system when they initially first started.
I know.
It was so hard for me. And I'm like, how are my kids going to get it, you know? How are they going to accomplish anything if I can't do it? So I had to learn the system first and then teach them slowly, you know. Now, thank God, through the grace of God, they're doing a lot better. Yeah. A lot better. Initially, in the beginning, it was, you know, they weren't getting good grades.
Right.
But now I see the 90s and the 80s, and, you know, so they're doing a lot better. They want to go back to school, but, you know, there's always that fear, you know.
And there's also, I feel like, too, you know, looking back on this past year, what does that mean moving forward? Because some of these kids have gotten real comfortable with not, you know, having that typical school routine every day. Because, you know, some kids have live meetings, boom, 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 all throughout the day, and they feel bombarded. Meanwhile, like in you know, a situation, you know, where they're doing their virtual schooling at a daycare or an after-school program or whatever the case may be, and they're doing it with several other kids who might be in different school districts or they're in different grades. They have different teachers. Their live schedules are very different. So you have some kids who might have like 2 or 3, and that's it. So then they have, you know, if they can rush to get their work done, they've got a lot of free time that they normally wouldn't have when they're in school. So how is this going to affect them when they do finally go back to school full time? You know, is
gonna
that
be hard for them.
right?
It's going to be really hard because when we first started, my kids wanted a break every 5 minutes. So now we got it to the point where it's like after each class, you'll get a break.
Yeah.
You know, but like you said, going back to school, they're going to be so used to doing what they want that the school is going to determine that they have a behavior problem because they're not
Right.
listening to the teacher's orders, you know?
But that's usually what used to happen to parents. Like I know a lot of parents who came to me and say, "Oh, this child have a behavior problem. I has to look for help." But you bring this kid that's in a school and daycare 12 hours a day, and now you have in your house, and you didn't know that your child have a behavior problem.
Right, right.
So now parents, I've seen the behavior problem that the kids have, or any other issues that the kids have. They don't know how to read. They don't know how to do math well. They don't know how to communicate well.
Right.
And parents are coming most of the time to me saying, "How I can help my kids?" But and now it comes first. How you gonna help yourself as a parent so you be ready mentally so you can deal with him.
Right.
And that's what I'm being seeing all this year. Like they're very worried what's going to happen now to the kids. All the parents is like, I can't no more. I prefer to send it to school. You know, it's everything everywhere.
That's
like
how I
you
feel.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to send them back to school, but then again, it's like the anxiety of them going back to school versus the anxiety that I have at home. I'd rather have the anxiety at home. Like there's days I don't want to get up from bed because I know what my day is going to consist
What's
of. You
waiting
know?
for you?
So my mental health is important to them as well.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
if they see me stressed out, they're gonna stress out. Like right now, my kids are going through it hard, so hard. Like I see a difference in their eating, a difference in the way they act. Like their only socialism, like all they do is go online. That's how they can
Yes.
talk to their friends.
Yep.
So it hurts me to take it away from them, or for my husband to say, "Hey, no more tablets, no more phones, no more." This is their way out. This is their escape right now because
Yep.
they have no life outside of our house right
Right.
now. And it's not because we're being bad parents; it's because we're protecting them.
Yeah, and it's also hard too because now they're spending more time on these online platforms, which we've spent, you know, their entire lives trying to protect
Avoid.
them
And
from,
the,
you know, and now that's their only outlet. And now I'm seeing definitely more kids very glued to their phones and their tablets. And if that is gone, then it's a meltdown. Understandable, because that's, like you said, the only thing they really have right now. But at the same time, it's like, at what point do we draw the line
Right.
and say, okay, like, no more watching videos on TikTok. You know, we're not making TikTok videos right now. It's at the end of last school year, so what did it look like for the kids, like when they shut school down? I was very unsure of that.
So I thought it was going to be, that's it, the summer's over, they're going right back to school. When we got news that it wasn't going to be that way anymore, we were like, oh my God, we're going to have to do this all over again. And then on top of that, they changed the system on the computer.
Okay, so it was an online system at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Did they have live meetings?
They did.
Okay.
No, actually, I'm
No,
sorry. No,
okay.
they didn't. At least my school district
no,
did
we
not.
do. I was doing in Strasbourg.
Oh, for Stroudsburg,
Yeah,
they were
it's-
doing live
yeah,
meetings.
they were
Okay, because
doing
I
live
was
meetings.
never sure what that looked like. Because, you know, that school year, basically, they literally went to school one day, and then by the time they were leaving, it was like, oh, we don't know when we're coming back. And then I feel like it was scrambled to figure out
And now that
what
you
they're going to
say
do.
that, what happened with me was when I took the kids to the bus stop, we overheard another lady saying that the mom or the daughter or the father was sick, and they still put the kids on the bus. So I called the principal, and she's like, "No, there's nothing to worry about. You know, everything should be fine." And I'm like, "No, you're putting the," and this is where everything started getting like, "Oh my God, people are getting sick." Wait a minute, you're putting a child that's exposed to the sickness on the bus. Now my kid is going to be on the bus with them. So what's going to happen? Do you know the very next day she called me and she's like, "We're closing schools down." And I'm like, "Oh, because of that." Like that, it had to be some. And,
Right.
she explains a kid got on the bus when the parents were exposed.
And here it was the
And
kid
here,
that got
and
on
she
the
was
bus
like,
with
"No,"
your
and she was
kids.
like, "No, don't nothing to worry about." It was hard.
Yeah, Because I was so scared. Nobody knew
What's going on?
what to really expect from all of this.
I didn't think it was real at one
Right.
point. I really didn't. I really was like, okay, people are getting sick. The flu, everyone gets sick, you
Right.
know?
And then here we are locked down in our homes for like
And
3
then
months.
seeing the news where everybody's dying,
Yeah.
like all these body bags, and like, come on, people dressed in all white, covering their whole, from head to toe.
Right, and think about kids that have seen that on the news.
How do you explain that when you went back
Yeah.
in September?
We reopened the center in June, and when they started coming back, we only had like, I want to say it was like 10, 11 kids that came back right away. And we were preparing for, because now we went from allowing parents in the building to drop their kids off to contactless pickup and drop off. So we get the kids out of the car, or they bring them up to the door, we take them to their classroom, and then at the end of the day we bring them out to the car. So we are limiting the traffic in the building. And then, here we are trying to prepare ourselves for, them seeing us with masks on. They've been at home with their parents now for 3 months, or, with family members if the parents still had to work. How is that going to look after 3 months of not being with us? Are they going to get really upset? Are they going to be anxious? Are they going to be scared? We actually had, some of these kids were like busting through the door. They were like so ready to be back and to be around people and to be socializing. It was actually, really cool. And obviously we've always taught hand washing, but now it's very, this is why we have to wash our hands. There is a virus that's going around. You can get really sick from it, and we've explained to the older ones too, like, you might not feel really sick, but that could transfer on to somebody who would get really sick.
With a compromised immune system.
Right. So, it's very important to wash your hands. It's very important to, keep everything covered. And we actually upped our sick policy, obviously. So much as like a runny nose and a cough combined, nope, no go.
Stay home.
But they really have not been sick. I have to say that.
Yeah,
I
my
mean,
kids either.
Our staff is, wearing masks. I'm still doing mostly telehealth for early intervention, but I'm allowed to see children in daycare as long as I go every other week. But as far as the center goes, it's, the adults have to be masked at all times. Obviously, children under 2, we're not advised to wear a mask. Children 2 and up, some of them are really good with it. You can tell that they've been prepped for it and they're used to going to, maybe out to the store or whatever to help with grocery shopping. The older ones are better with it. But
You're
really,
right. I
they
had to
have
prep my
not.
4-year-old.
Yeah.
I had to say, here's a JoJo Siwa mask.
Yeah,
put
there
it
you
on.
go.
Like, it's so cool. Just put it on. And that's how she wears it.
Yeah, and some of them, no problem at all. But the ones that really aren't into it, we don't force them.
Even my 1-year-old. She's
Yeah.
like, I want a mask.
Exactly. It's become like a
It's like,
fashion statement
yeah.
now. I saw a lady at Five Below the other day with like tassels
Oh, wow.
hanging from her mask.
So, do you think they really get used to the new style like they have right now mentally, or they just doing it because it's nothing else to do?
I think they're adjusting.
It's, we've obviously lived in the world longer than they have and know
Yeah.
our whole lives without being forced to wear a mask. Some of these younger ones, 2, 3 years old, it's become something that's like, okay,
It's a
this is what we're
lifestyle.
doing now.
Yeah.
And we've been at it now for a year. So I don't think that, like, I've never heard a child express like, oh, when am I not going to be able to wear a mask again? Some of the older ones maybe, but I mean, they all know, especially the school age kids, when it's time to get on that bus, that mask has to be on your face. They're not going to let you on the bus without it.
Right.
So like, I'll carry like spare ones in my pocket because sometimes we walk up, they've left it in the center, and now I'm like, okay, well, here you go,
need to
here's a
put it on,
mask,
yeah.
because they won't let them on the bus without it, and they wear it all day at school, all day.
This has become reality. Like, this is our life now. This is what we got to do.
Do you see more like aggressive reactions or sadness reaction during this time than before?
Definitely. Absolutely. For little things that normally, a lot of these kids I've known for a really long time normally wouldn't set them off.
I'm asking this question because, like a week ago, I received a call on one of my ex-parents, and and she say, I don't know what to do. I think I has to go back at the beginning and start. Do you know where, you know, I can take him again? So they be reevaluating stuff like that. And I say, well, what happened? And she say, I don't know. He's being aggressive. He's been crying. And I say, well, how you figure out that, you know, the changes? And she said, no, just one day he was sitting down, he started crying. I didn't know why he was crying. And I asked him, and he started hitting. And I was like, totally like, what? And she said, yeah, after I signed the paper that he didn't need no more help. Because he was fine for 1 year. So I had to tell the person, you know, send the person to the place to get reevaluated and all these things. And now my big question is, we're talking about now 3, 4, 5 years old. But what you think will happen to your kids, especially you from here when it comes September? Do you expect that they will be smooth with it, go back to school?
I'm hoping it'll be a smooth transition. I mean, they want to go back to school, so I'm hoping that will ignite something in them, saying, hey, you know, we're going back to school. Let's do better in school, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, it hit them hard. It hit them harder than me because, you know, we stay home. We don't go anywhere.
Right.
We don't
Right.
do anything. And it's just every year we used to go out, you know, summertime, the
Vacations.
pool, vacation, friend's house,
Yeah.
Play dates, you know, birthday parties.
Yes.
I had to cancel my 1-year-old's birthday party back in April. I couldn't, and I bought everything for her. And then when this happened, it was just like a drive-by. Hi, you know, like come on, like
I know, that's
you don't
not
want a
enough for a
drive-by
child.
birthday party.
No.
You want the bouncy house. You want the fun.
You want all your friends there.
And my kids say they have no friends. They can't see their friends. It's hard.
It is hard. And, you know, as adults, when this hit, you know, we're more capable of, like, adjusting and adapting.
Right.
These kids had no idea what was going on for the most part. It's just like all of a sudden now you're stuck at home with your family all day long. And especially with the virtual schooling, I feel like what became most difficult about that is the kids who are doing it at home, that's their safe space. That's where they come home at the end of the day. That's where they are. That's where they get to relax. That's where they get to, you know, kind of just be themselves around their family, around the people that protect them the most.
Yeah.
And now they have to do school in that space that was totally different just a couple weeks prior. And now they're forced to make that switch. And I feel like that for a lot of kids, I know that for me was tough to go from getting up and physically going to work every day to now I have to turn around and work from home. And, you know, home's where I take my naps. Like, I can't be working from home. So it was hard for me too.
Yeah.
Because my question will be now, what we can do, like, and you feel what you can do, so the transitions is coming back. September, everybody has to go back to school. That's what they're saying. So my mind is ready that I have to go back to school, to daycares. I have to go back to houses. I still doing it, giving therapy here and there. But my question is for those kids who want to go to kindergarten, who going to go to first grade, who, you know.
Yeah, imagine first grade right now.
Um,
Like for
My
these kids who are
daughter's in
going to go,
first grade.
like especially I felt so bad for these poor kindergartners. That was
No
their
graduation.
First
How about the
experience.
seniors?
Yes.
Their graduation.
College. We had girls from
well, I
ESU.
graduated last year from
Yeah.
college. I couldn't do mine,
And they
so-
were like, oh, they want to do it on, you know, some sort of Zoom or something.
Yeah, I
and they were
know.
like, I'd rather just get my diploma in the mail.
That's what my son
God, I
said.
blame
I
you.
just don't even want to go. I asked him, "Do you want your cap and gown?" He's like, "Nope,
No,
I'd rather
I
not."
know.
How your son is doing? Because he's now like.
He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to do prom. They're not even
they
having prom.
having?
No.
No.
So they asked us if he wants cap and gown. He's like, "For what? To sit in a car?" I'm like, "Just to take pictures. Go take your senior pictures." He goes, "I don't want it. I don't want it." He goes, "For what?
Right.
What am I? If I was in school, mingling with my friends,
Right.
doing things with my friends, having a real senior's year."
Which is something every high school kid looks
It was
forward
stripped
to.
from them. It was stripped completely from them. And going back to what Maria was saying, I opt out for there's cyber, there's virtual, and there's hybrid.
Yeah.
I opt out for cyber. So cyber, I have the choice whether I want to send them back or not in September.
Okay.
So that's why it's, it's still going to be hard for me to make that decision because I don't know yet what we
Right.
want to do.
Did they give you a timeline? How long you have to wait to tell
No,
them?
I think I
Okay.
could put them in. I could put them back in whenever I
Okay.
feel I'm ready.
Okay.
Even if I go back tomorrow, I could put them in. If it's
Yeah.
next year, coming 2023, well, 22.
Yeah.
If I want to put them back in then I
Okay,
can put
so
them
you have
back
the
in.
option, like,
so I have that
whenever.
options. But seeing like you're saying, their mental health, it's taking a toll on their heads. It's
Yeah.
taking a toll on their minds. My kids want to go back to school. They want
do.
friends. Like
They do.
they don't want to be home.
I've had a handful of kids say, "Nope, I want to stay virtual forever" because they're loving it. And then, but a bulk of them, especially now that a lot of them have, started to go back 4 days, they were so excited to go
Yeah.
back 4 days.
My
I've never
kids
seen
asked
kids
me.
be so excited for school.
My kids asked me, and I was just like, "Oh God, it's gonna hurt me to say no, but I have to."
Right. It's
At this
sometimes
point,
it's
I'm not
better out
ready.
to just wait out the school year, see how it goes over these next, 2 months or however long they have left with all these kids coming back in and see how the school districts handle it. Is it going to go well? Are they going to be able to do this successfully without constantly having to shut down? Because that would be, if I had a child in
That's
the
what-
school district, that would
To
wouldn't be
keep
my
shutting
deciding
down.
factors because I don't want to send my child into the school
And then they get
to have to turn
disappointed.
them constantly
They'll get disappointed.
turn
yeah.
around and be like, "Oh no, we're
They're
gonna go
shutting down.
virtual for 2 weeks," and I'm like, ugh.
Then
Yeah.
my question will be this: how we can help right now these kids?
well, have a lot of grace with your kids, and it's it doesn't matter whether they're toddlers, babies, or teenagers. Understand that there's been a lot that they've gone through, whether they openly express it or not, whether you can completely see it or not. This has been a huge change for everybody. Encourage them to talk. I would definitely have those like casual conversations. It doesn't have to be like something where you sit down across the table and be like, "Okay, well, I would like for you to express your feelings to me about this." Everybody knows their kids best and how to have conversations with them, but I definitely would make it a point to talk about their day. Let them know, like, I'm here as just a sounding board for you, somebody that you can talk to. I'm your safe space, as your parent, as your mother, as your guardian, whatever the case may be. It's definitely important to let them know that they can talk about it.
And also, piggyback off of you, my husband, I don't usually don't agree with the decisions he's making because I feel like he's hard on the kids. But doing virtual, like he explained to us, they're not using their writing skills. So like you said, he's asking them to every day after their regular schoolwork, he asked them to write down what they did or talk about their day
Right.
or write 3 paragraphs or something because again they're losing their skills in writing.
Right. I didn't
They-
even think about that.
They're always
That's a good point.
And
Wow, that's a good
that's
point.
Matthew.
because-
Go Matthew.
Congratulations, go Matthew. That's a good point. Why I ask this because definitely I told you have to be, and now I'm gonna talk as a pastor, sitting down. We have to have a lot of grace with our kids. Doesn't matter the age. Doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4, 5, like she say right now. Why grace? Because you will encourage that kids. Doesn't matter what he feel. If he's doing good or bad, you there for them. They need the support right now. And sometimes we forget that they need the support. I encourage parents. It's so many books about feelings. They teach you how to deal with feelings. It's many books. You can call the library, they're free. You can buy it for $2 or $3. I can put on the website a title of books, and they say when you feel sad, when you are mad, when you feel upset, and teach your kids how to say those words, when to use those words. It's okay if your child told you, "I'm mad." Saying that I'm mad and be disrespectful are 2 different
Right.
things. And then that's the moment that, "Oh, you mad? Why you mad? How I can help you?" and that you will know how you shall feel. Oh, you cannot say you're mad because you just perfect. Hey, give it time.
Yeah.
Now is your time to encourage your kids to talk about feeling, to start being emotional intelligent. Why? Because when they go to high school, they will be ready for many things in life.
And you're right about that, because you're putting it in. I'm taking that and putting it into a different perspective, because I'm the type. I'm a bad mom. I'll tell you right now. I'm a bad mom. I'm like, get away from me with your problems. Like, go somewhere else. Like, don't come to me.
After
with that.
you've just virtual schooled them all day long, it's hard to
Then I
turn
have to
around
go.
and be like, "Oh, okay, come here. It's
Stop
fine."
it and
You've
stop
thrown
and do
fits
lunch.
all
Go
afternoon.
back to school. You know, all of this. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. Making breakfast.
I actually saw
school.
somebody say on here, "Us moms need our sanity back." Yes,
Yes,
you do.
we do.
Yes,
you know
do.
what my sanity was? Them being in school and me
Yes.
going out with my friends having a nice lunch date.
Yes.
That's it. That was my sanity. Once a week, twice a week.
You get no break.
Nothing.
At this point.
Absolutely
But
none.
being a mom, you typically don't get a break. Being a mom who's now homeschooling their kids, working from home, not working because of COVID, and your kids being home, I give you all the credit in the world, because I couldn't do it.
Well,
No way.
I will not
Well,
do it.
I do have, I do have my husband's help every now and
Right.
then. But again, a lot of things came about within this last year. We started our own ministry, and then it flourished into a church.
Okay.
So now not only are we doing that, there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to deal with the social media part of it. We have to deal with the people part of it. You have to have the people skills. You have
Right.
to be able to talk. We have groups every other day. So it's just not on top of all of this. I have to deal with my kids. There's 6 of them. So now I have 2 in diapers, and the other one just started learning potty training. So it's like you have to teach them potty, and then one is screaming while I'm trying to teach the other one what to do during school. I remember the other day the teacher called me, one of their teachers, because my daughter was having a hard time submitting some paperwork. And she hears the background, and it's the baby crying. Then I have my 4-year-old screaming out the top of her lungs, and then Meadow is fighting with her. So it's just like, oh my! She's like, "Are you guys okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we will be." Yeah,
This is
we're great.
awesome.
So it's this is the stuff that people don't see.
And
It's
then
hard.
that's why we're doing this program, so people understand that yes, it's the need of mental health. Yes, it's the need for parents, kids, young adults, for teachers, because therapies, everybody are going through the process right now. Everybody. It's not easy for me to go to somebody's house and sit down 6 hours with that person in front of the computer.
Right.
I'm not used to that, to get therapy like that. And the kids running around, you just say, okay, you have 5 minutes.
Right.
Okay, take that 5 minutes. And then the mom comes say, hold on, he don't want to get in the computer. Okay, I'll call you back in 3 hours. And all these things, everybody go through the process right now of mental health. Now, what will be the best way to deal with this? I think if you're a parent, as a parent, you have to start doing a schedule in your house. I know that you will tell me, what?
I tried that.
What? And let me explain to you something. I did in my house. In my house was 6 of them.
Yeah, you had a lot of people.
I have a lot of kids, and she knows all of them. And then then I will almost like you. I think definitely, and I'm gonna talk about back as not a mental health professional. I'm gonna talk as a mom. When children go to school, they have a schedule. When they go to work in life, you have a schedule. When you in daycare, you have a schedule. So do the same thing at home. Why? I'm gonna explain why.
She's
Because
like,
it
no.
will give you that peace of mind as a parent.
My kids get over on me. I'm sorry. I told you I'm that bad mom. My kids get over on me. Like,
Well, with 6
it's
kids,
so
it has
hard.
to be like a schedule when you're trying
I
to
try.
schedule 6 kids. That's tough.
The best thing to go through the day with the kids if you have a schedule. In my house was quiet time, and you're gonna tell me what?
I remember
Yes,
hearing
it
about
was-
this. I remember hearing Maria talk about her
Quiet
quiet
time.
time at home.
No, it's
And she's
quiet
like,
time.
I sit down on the couch and nobody bothers me, and they
No,
all
Oh,
know.
God, I-
no, it's my quiet time, and my kids know it's quiet time. And I had Cadriana, and Cadriana can tell you 8 o'clock. Hey, they knew they have to get ready. 8:30, everybody in my house was in bed. And you're going to tell me what?
God bless you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You 16, you're in my house, 8:30, you're going to your bed.
And I could see her doing this too. I absolutely can. I know how you operate.
The thing with this is, and we love, but it was my time. It was the time that I can sit down and say, okay, let me read a book. Let me just be me.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day, when I get up, I can get up in the morning, do breakfast, make sure that the girls was ready, make sure that the other one go to the high school, they was not cutting class, they was doing the proper thing. And one thing that usually I always did, I know all my kids' friends. My house always was full of kids.
Yeah.
I love it. Because dinner time, I knew everybody's business from the school. I used to sit down with my kids and say, what? I didn't know. I become a kid with kids. Kids are kids. They need the time. And you as a parent has to give it to them. And you have to be, like she said, hey, be great. You have to understand that your kid's going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not you. I always remember I have somebody who told me, I want my daughter to be a doctor. Hey, she will be a doctor if she want to be a doctor. If she don't want to be a doctor, she don't have to be a doctor.
Right.
Go back to school, you do be the doctor again. So, I think as a parent, you put so much pressure to your kids, and nowadays that's what they're suffering. And you feel like all over the place.
I also think it's important too. I know for me personally, I need to be in control at all times, whether it's at work, whether it's at home. I need that. And when we had these kids doing virtual school, it was like, okay, well, this is your schedule, so this is how we're going to follow it. We're going to go in order from beginning to end, and okay, you have language arts. All right, so there was your live meeting with your language arts teacher, and now we're going to do your language arts work. And then when you're done that, we're going to have your live meeting with your math teacher, so that's what we're going to do, because that's how I am. I'm very like boom, 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 boom.
I try to have that order, but being I have 3 of them in school and they have different schedules, it's hard.
Well, that's what I noticed at the daycare. I'm like, this isn't going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. And I had to pull myself back because now I'm getting stressed out because it's...
One has a meeting with one teacher.
Yes.
The other one's asking me for help with something else. And I'm like, oh, gosh.
And then another one's like, can I go play? And I'm like...
Can I go eat something? I need a snack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, especially for the younger ones, like kindergarten, first grade, those ones, I've noticed if I kind of just let them be like, okay, you did your morning meeting. Now, where do you want to start? What area would help you if we just start there? A lot of them choose, if they have gym and they don't have a live meeting for gym. Oh, I want to do like my gym YouTube videos. Knock it out. If that's what's going to help you stay focused the rest of the day, then I'll relinquish my need to do everything in like a checklist form. And you go ahead and do your gym. If you want to do science after that, that's okay. Sometimes we as adults have to change our routines and the way that we do things. Still have structure and have, make sure that they know what's expected of them every day, but still allowing them to have some control because they've lost a lot of it lately.
So it means you have to teach your kids to be responsible by their own thing.
Yeah.
And that happened, you will tell me, wow, I don't have that problem. In my classroom, everybody, hey, you better clean that. I'm not going to clean behind you. It's not going to happen. She laughed, we work together. And the thing is, like, I totally think if you give responsibility to the kids, they're capable to do it.
Yeah.
No, they'll do it. They'll definitely do it. My kids have chores, not specific chores, but if I tell them, you got to clean or you're not going to get your phone, you better believe they're going to start cleaning, Yeah, so I think my son has chores and he does them all, without question, without asking, without hesitating, he's doing them. It's more getting the younger ones to try to get to it. You know what? The other thing is that they listen to other people more than they listen to me because they know that they can get over on me, So if somebody else come like you, Maria, say you go into that room right now, you tell them, oh, be quiet. They'll listen to you before they listen to me.
Right.
And
And I feel like that's why it's been so difficult for these moms who are doing this at home with their kids all day long.
Because they listen to the
And,
teachers.
you know, we've had moms tell us that all the time, like, oh, well, it's easier for them to do it here because they're not listening to me at home. And I'm like, that's your mom. You're not their
That's the place
you're their first teacher, but you're not their school teacher.
Right.
And they're just not going to see you like that. It's very difficult for them to flip that switch in her brain, you know, like, this is my mom and she's going to be teaching me all day. That's a very tough concept for kids to grasp.
Yeah.
So at this point means that we have to look how parents or mom, especially the working with kids at home, to be mentally stable so they can continue working with these kids and notice what the kids going by. I think the schedule is one thing. I think reading books is another thing. Another thing that you have to notice when the behaviors are changing when it comes, if they're sad, if they're too happy. Sometimes when you see kids laughing and laughing and laughing, that don't mean they're okay emotionally.
Right?
Don't get confused with that. Sometimes kids are very good, I would say, to put in the side the feelings and emotions, and you don't know
Right.
what they're going through until they're 14, 15, 16, 17. And then when that age come, you say, oh, my son, my daughter's acting up. No. Your daughter and your son was suppressing those feelings. And now they don't know how to approach them.
Right.
And that's what we've been seeing now with, you know, our young kids, especially in junior high school. As a mental health facilitator, I have a woman group, which right now I have to divide it in Spanish and English starting next week. For those Spanish moms, you know, they don't know English, to help them too, because they're going through a situation. But all these things we talk in the group, we talk about how you can be affected, how, you know, even what you think can affect your kids. Like she said, I heard her say, I'm a very mom. No, you're teaching your kids what you know. You did awesome. If it was me, you don't do, well, my grandson stood last week with me. Ask him how many times I forgot that he was home. I'm like, oh, it's school. Let me call this boy. Listen, AJ, get in the computer. You have school. Grandma, I did already. Hey.
But you know what? Towards the end of, like, now, like, they're doing so much better. Like, they know the routine. It becomes a routine for them now.
Yeah.
Like, they're going on. They're logging in. For the most part, they're done by 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And they have the rest of the day to themselves, you know, aside from the work that my husband tells them to do. And aside from the chores, you pretty much have the whole day to yourself.
Right.
So I think they already got accustomed and they adjusted to the routine that COVID has given them.
Right.
Because it's COVID, you know, we didn't give it to them.
And I think too, it's a balance too. Like, especially when you've got two parents at home, having that balance. Like, your husband's like, no, this is what you're gonna do at the end of your day, whereas you are the more, you know, like,
Lenient.
yeah, you know, like, we could finagle this, we can make this work. And sometimes I feel like that's necessary to have that balance. And, you know, for single moms who are doing this at home on their own, they kind of have to play both roles.
But
and
you
how
know
do
what?
you
I
do
found
that
it
as a
hard.
mom?
I found it harder today because he's the more strict parent and I'm the more lenient one, they want to be with me all the time. Like, right now, like, they came with me because they didn't want to stay home. Like,
Moms don't get a
just
break.
leave me alone. Moms don't get breaks.
No.
It's almost time to close, and something that you want to tell other moms that you've been learning through this process, Chloe.
It's gonna get better.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Have patience. I try to have patience with the kids. Sometimes, it takes a lot for me to have patience with them, especially dealing with the crying all the time and the whining and, oh, she hit me, and they fight a lot now because they're always home.
Yeah.
So just have a little bit more patience and just know that it's gonna get back to normal soon. One day.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Cricket.
As a behavior specialist, as a teacher, all those roles that you run here in stress with stress with all kinds of
I would say probably the best thing you could do is spend time with them. You know, time that's not involved in schoolwork and, you know, doing all of that. Take the time maybe at the end of the day to have those conversations. How was everybody's day? With the younger ones, take the time out to have some one-on-one playtime with them. You know, like if you're staying at home working or they're in daycare all day, whatever the case may be, have, you know, set aside, even if it's just 15 minutes to just like do a puzzle, play a game, something simple, just so they know that they still have that safety net there for them.
I learned a lot. Definitely, I think it's very important for us to understand that our children is the future, and we have to encourage them to spread themselves, and they understand that we as a parent, teachers, people who work in the community, we love them, and they can come to us and they can say to us how they feel, and they're not going to be judged by they feel. And it's okay to feel happy. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to have all these kind of feelings.
And it's okay to talk about them.
And it's okay to talk about them. I think that's the key about everything right now. And as a pastor, I will say this: have grace with your kids. Teach them to have grace for themselves. It's okay that you commit mistake. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm here. I'm gonna walk with you. And if you do that, doesn't matter if you have daddy at home or you have mommy at home, you encourage them that they're gonna be better tomorrow.
Yeah. And on their own in the real world, you know, they're not always going to be next to mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
They have to move
You know,
forward.
ultimately,
on their own
we're
too.
still preparing them for that,
For-
even though
for
they're
the moment.
home with us all day
Right.
long, and we feel like it's never going to end.
So
It
guys,
will.
I will tell you until next week. Not next week, 2 weeks from now. We're gonna have another program. We're gonna continue talking about this. Any questions, please ask us on Facebook, YouTube. I will put my phone number there. As so, if you need more information, I will send you to Brittany.
I'm the go-to.
And we will continue bring awareness to the community. What's mental health? Hopefully, from here to 2 weeks, we're gonna open our first youth mental health support group. You can bring your kids. We're working in hours and the specific day, but we'll let you know. We continue with the women groups and other more things that coming for the community. Bye.